So in this how to slice, we're gonna be checking out some city frames. So let's go. So this is Washington. As you can see, this is a miniature of the Washington DC. This is city frames. This is a really nice model. So you can print multiple plates, in this case it's 9 plates, to get a miniature of Washington. So let's take a look at the best print configurations to print this model. So first off, let's analyze all the plates. So this plate right here, these are quite easy to print. You won't have any worries to print them because they don't have too many details. But for the ones that have houses right here and buildings, what we're gonna do is reduce the layer speed, layer and perimeter right here in layer height. We're gonna be decreasing this value to 0.16 millimeters so we get a better quality print. So our buildings are gonna look really nicely. As for vertical shells, we're gonna leave it at 3. For infill right here, we're gonna increase to 10% so you get a really rigid part, and you can leave it at a gyroid fill pattern. As for skirt and brim, this model does not need any brim because, as you can see, it's got a perfect surface contact to the build plate. As for support material, this model does not need any support material because it's optimized for printing, and all the buildings right here don't have any bridging, don't have any small overhangs. They are just tall and they're nice and easy to print, so you don't need any support. As for speed, what I would recommend is to reduce bridges right here. You can just select reduce to 15 millimeters a second, and small perimeters just to 55 millimeters a second. Before printing any of these models, I would recommend for you to do a temperature test. So a temperature tower is when you print a tower that decreases the value of the temperature. So in each level of the tower is going to be printed at a different temperature. So in this way, you can analyze the best temperature for your filament, because sometimes if your temperature is at a too high of a value, you're gonna get stringing. Stringing is when you're printing, let's say, this building right here, and your printer is gonna travel to this building right here. It's gonna leave a scar, it's gonna leave a residue of molten filament. So it's gonna look like strings, it's gonna look like Spider-Man went through Washington DC. So what I would recommend is do a temperature tower to see the best temperature for your filament, so you can change right here. Nozzle, you can just change your filament, and will depend in what filament you're using. Generally, silk PLA, it's at a different temperature than your basic PLA, so I do recommend doing a temperature tower. So let's just slice and take a look how this model is gonna look. So as you can see, I just sliced the model, and it's gonna take 9 hours and 52 minutes to print. So if you take a look, we can just go over here to feature type, select speed, and take a look at how it's gonna vary the speed while printing. So as you can see over here in small perimeters, it's gonna decrease the speed to 55 millimeters. So this is really important while printing small parts like this, to print at a really low speed actually, so you can get a really good quality print, especially in the tiny parts, because sometimes they don't get too much time to cool down, so it generally has problems and will leave scars on your print. So this is a really nice feature to get a really nice printing quality. So this is the frame to set your beautiful plate that you just have printed. So as you can see, this is the frame for the 15 by 15 centimeters plate. Just be careful at what you're printing, because we got two sizes, one that's smaller than the other, so make sure you're printing the correct one. So as you can see, the plate is fairly easy to print, and we got a support for the wall, so you can set and print and attach to your wall. Over here you can just print this and it will insert into the frame. So to print this, you can just go to print settings, layers and perimeters, and you can print at a 0.22 millimeter layer height. As for infill, we're going to increase this to 8% of infill so you can get a rigidity, and it's going to look it's going to be really firm to attach in the wall. As for fill pattern, you can leave it at gyroid. This model does not need any brim because it's got a good bed adhesion to the build plate. As for the wall support, and for the support material, you do not need any support material because it doesn't have tiny overhangs or nothing like that. As for speed, you can print at your standard printing settings because this model is not complicated, doesn't have tiny overhangs, so the standard printing configuration is fine. So it's gonna take 7 hours and 10 minutes to print on the Ender 3 V3 SE and will look really nice. Prusa is alarming a stability issue. This is due to the underside right here. You might not have any issues because this is a bridge and your printer can do this overhang really quite easy. But if you want, you can just go over here and paint a little bit of support. So you can just increase the brush size and just give it a scrub and add some support. But as this is the interior, it's not going to be visible, you won't have any issues with that because your printer will do quite fine the small overhang. So the model is ready to print. Make sure you check our site stlflix.com for more models as beautiful as this one, and happy printing to all of you.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Those slicing videos are an initiative from STL Academy, which is the educational project from STL Flix. So if you guys want to learn more about 3D printing, you could check our description and look at STL Academy courses. And don't forget, see you guys at the next slicing.